Hi, this video is going to be a little different. I wanted to do a video about my anxiety. This is a subject I haven't talked about in a video before. Most of the videos I try to do are lighthearted with Michelle, to do happy, fun things. And then also my DIY videos. I have alluded to my anxiety and PTSD in previous videos, like I'll say my nerves are shot and whatever, but I've never just fully talked about it. So there's a few reasons I want to share this, and one of them, it's cathartic to get it out and talk about it, because I'm pretty isolated and I don't really have anyone to talk to about it. I don't want to burden Michelle with this, so although she knows like that I have issues, but also, if there's anyone else out there that suffers from anxiety and feels alone, because I mean, of course, you always feel like you're the only one that's going through this. I want them to know that, of course, you're not. There's like, I think 1 in 10 of us suffer from anxiety. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and PTSD years ago, and I've been in therapy, and there were times I thought it was getting better, and then just a lot of things will trigger my anxiety and make it worse. So I've been having a hard time lately. So I'd like to make a video for those people that can relate. I also would like to make this for people that don't understand anxiety or mental illness of any kind. Like, some people just don't get it. They mock it, they're sarcastic, they blame you for your issues. They don't understand. They think you're being too sensitive, or you're being, you're not positive enough. Some people that, like, they want to force you to be positive, as though the negative emotions have no place, but really they do. Like, anger serves a purpose, it motivates action. Fear serves a purpose, it protects you from danger, things like that. But some people don't understand mental illness, and even those who perhaps mean well and, you know, they'll pay lip service to mental health. Oh, we really care about mental health. But then when it comes right down to it, when you ask them to bend on policies and procedures that might be harmful to your mental health, they're unwilling to accommodate. So a lot of it's just words. It's like the reality is people don't seem to understand or to acknowledge mental health because it's invisible, right? Like, if I was missing an arm, you could see that. If I was blind or had some physical ailment, you would see that. But when it's a mental injury, you don't see it and you don't understand. And some people can be highly functioning and you have no idea. Like, no one had any idea, Robin Williams, what he was grappling with depression, because he was like the happiest guy in the world and talented and hilarious and brilliant, and it's tragic that he hid it so well. And I mean, you see comedians like Jim Carrey, hilarious, but all the things that he was dealing with as well. So anyway, I was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. I'd been working for decades in an environment which was very toxic, where I was routinely subjected to dealing with trauma, and it took a toll physically and mentally, and I didn't really even have a name for what was happening to me. I just knew that I was so broken, beyond broken, and just like sleep deprived and working 12-hour shifts, and just, it was very hard and it was breaking me down. Like, I was having physical symptoms, mental symptoms, couldn't sleep, I was coasting on caffeine and cortisol. I was a train wreck. And it wasn't until I read an article on cumulative PTSD that I realized, oh my God, I had every symptom, and this was what was happening to me. Because I used to think PTSD is something that happens to war veterans. You go off to war and it's like, but it's not necessarily a one-time event. It could be, you know, you're somewhere where you're constantly dealing with chronic stress and horrific things over and over, and it's not like it's one event, it's every day chipping away at you. It's like if you're a tree and every day there was another nick made in the wood, another cut, another scrape, and eventually you're so weakened that like you're gonna fall over. You're the tree's coming down. So long story short, too late. So I was diagnosed and I've been going through therapy, and as I said, there were times where I thought I'm really getting better, and but then there were other things that happened that triggered me again. I had to face some demons from my past, and that really kind of pulled the rug out from under me again. And now recently, I mean, with the pandemic, it's so it's such a strange thing to have anxiety and then to be dealing with a global pandemic, because I feel like now my fear is well-founded. Like before, I had social anxiety and I didn't want to be close to strangers, but now I have that much more reason to avoid strangers because they literally could be contagious, like especially with the Delta variant. Like COVID-19 is deadly, so I stay away from people. So in some ways, I feel like your anxiety, it's a reaction to potential threats, of course, and PTSD as well. Like I'm hyper vigilant of any potential threats. So in some ways that's a protection, right? Like that's a survival mechanism to keep you safe, but sometimes it can be an overreaction because not everything is a threat. And it's just everything that happens, everything that goes wrong, it feels like an emergency, right? Like even just recently, okay, so I had a flat tire. And that was very upsetting. And like, I don't deal well with chaos and uncertainty. I don't like surprises, especially unpleasant ones. It's like anything that goes wrong, it derails me. It's like, shoot, now what do I have to do? Because also I'm a single mom, I'm on my own. So anything that goes wrong, anything that breaks in the house, the car, anything, like I've got to deal with it. I got to figure it out. And I'm on a really tight budget, like financially strapped. So like if something goes wrong, I have to do it like cheaply. So I fixed my 3 toilets. I still can't believe that I did, and that I posted a video on it and it's had 70,000 views, which is crazy. But, I do these things and I'm terrified. Like every time I have to try something new, like it's terrifying to me, but I force myself because I got to do something, right? Like I've got to solve it. So there was a flat tire recently and then I had to drain the pool, and that took so much out of me. And just anything that I have to do that kind of hangs over my head, I stress about it till it's done. And my therapist would say, well, you know, some level of stress is good, right? Because it pushes you to take action. And but too much stress obviously is overwhelming. And lately, like there have been things going wrong with Michelle's school as well. Like I keep her home for online learning because there's no way I would send her off to her doom at school with the Delta variant. Like, no, thank you. So she's been home, but there's been a lot of issues and problems with that. Like it hasn't been smooth sailing. Like she's been home since March 2020, and I just kind of assumed that things were going to go along the same, but it's a different school. Anyway, long story short, there have been a problem after problem, and just it's been triggering my anxiety on top of, you know, once I'm already stressed, then I can't sleep. And when you're sleep deprived, you're more stressed. I broke out in hives. I don't know if it's showing on camera, but there's been a couple of times in my life I've broken out in hives. And one was years ago when, once again, I was forced to face demons from my past and just some really ugly things, and had to go to a dark place, and I broke out in hives like that were so bad, like to the point where I went to the hospital to get checked out, and they said, yeah, it's anxiety. So ironically, they prescribed lorazepam, like an anti-anxiety, and I'd been against taking any medications for my anxiety, and yet because of the hives, like the itch was so bad and I couldn't sleep. I'm like, I am so desperate. Like I literally, sure, give me it. And the first night it worked, like I slept, but then it stopped working, and it's like I didn't want to get addicted to medication. I'm kind of anti-medication. So anyways, getting off topic, but yeah, so I had a really horrendous case of hives years ago. And then now recently, I guess because of like just Michelle being back in school and things going wrong with that, and the tire and the pool and our cat, like there was one day like there was poo all over the floor, and I'm like, are you kidding me? So I'm like, because she can't clean herself properly, I've done videos on this too, like I'll bath her because she's an overweight cat and she can't clean herself properly. So I give her a bath, but it literally only lasts a day, and then she's dirty again. And then I shaved her fur, like thought if I groom her, she's going to stay clean better. No, it doesn't, like nothing helps. And then, so then I'm like cleaning poo off the floor, and I'm having to bath her again. And then it clogs up the sink too. And then my freezer leaks. My freezer's been leaking for years, and I'm too afraid to try to fix it. I am one day going to tackle it, but I keep putting it off because like I tried to fix my dryer, and I did several things. I've done videos on that too. But even after all the things that I've done, it still wasn't fixed, and I was too stubborn to get someone to come in. And now with the pandemic, I wouldn't have a stranger in the house anyway. So, I mean, I can live without a dryer. I've been hanging my clothes to dry, but I cannot live without a fridge. So like if I try to fix my freezer or my fridge and I screw it up. Like we can't not have food. So I'm terrified to do that. The sinks were clogged. I had to deal with that in my shower. Like things keep going wrong and it's always just me to have to figure it out because I'm on my own. And when you're already overwhelmed and hanging by a thread, like every little thing that goes wrong, it feels so overwhelming. Like I can't even tell you. I just recently heard the song Overwhelmed, Royal and the Serpent. It's amazing. It's about anxiety. I'd never heard it before. I just did a cover version of it. I'll post that as well. But yeah, like people that don't have anxiety don't understand how hard it is just to get through the day. Like just to get up and do all the things you have to do just in a normal day. Like just to live your life, even without anything going wrong. So that as soon as things go wrong, like it's too much. It's like you're already drained and your mind just, as soon as there's something negative to focus on, like you just kind of spiral. Like it's gotten to the point I'm afraid to open my email because like all it takes is like some passive aggressive email from someone and that's enough to like throw me off, or some like scam email. Like, I mean, at least in some ways, I'm grateful for my anxiety in the sense that it does keep us safe. Like with the pandemic, I take full precautions. Like we stay home, we social distance, we wear masks, I keep her home from school. Like I am doing everything in my power to keep us safe from the virus because I do see it as a threat. Whereas some people don't worry at all. They're not, you know, they'll just carry on. Oh, you don't need a mask or do anything, just run amok. And then that's how the virus is spreading. A lot of people will call you an alarmist if you're very careful and cautious the way I am. To me, like I take it as a compliment. Like the alarmists are right. Like they are right all the time. And you listen to them because they're trying to warn you. Alarms are there for a reason. You have a fire alarm to warn you if there's a fire. You have a car alarm to warn you someone's breaking into your car. Alarms are necessary. The opposite of alarmists to me are the denialists. The people bury your head in the sand, pretend it's not happening. Everything's okay, like the meme of the dog, this is fine, and everything's in flames. Like if you don't recognize that there are some really bad things happening right now and ignoring them doesn't make them go away. Like we're in a global pandemic. You can't ignore that. People are like sending their kids off to school, not even worrying. It's like, some people don't have a choice and I feel bad for them, but some people, they literally are not even worried. They let their kids have play dates. Like they're not getting how serious the pandemic is. There are people that still deny climate change, even though the evidence is all around us, like wildfires and flooding and the worst storms ever. I mean, you have to be alarmed. There are some really bad things happening, but it's hard when you have anxiety because it's like, even on a good day when nothing was wrong, you would be hyper aware of, you know, everything. And now that there's so much going wrong, like it's a lot and you're trying to deal with that and being a single mom, just trying to survive the pandemic with your daughter. And everything that goes wrong, it's just one more thing hanging over my head to the point where, like, I said to my therapist, I literally cannot take one more thing going wrong. And she's like, well, where's the evidence of that? Like, every time something happens, you do handle it. Like, I did get my flat tire fixed. I did fix my toilets. I drained the pool eventually. It took days. But anyway, I do deal with the things, but it takes so much out of me. And I mean, I've lately, like, okay, I've got the hives now. At least they're not as bad as last time I had them, but I had chest pain for 3 days. Like, I mean, it's worrying. And the irony is, like, I wouldn't even know if I was having a heart attack because I get chest pains and I figure it's an anxiety attack. It's anxiety. And I've had it before. So, but, you know, like, I'm getting older and how would I even know? Like, would I know the difference? And I wouldn't go near a hospital right now if you paid me. So it's scary. And I was talking to someone one day and I was very upset and crying it. And he was like asking if I was suicidal. And I'm like, quite the opposite. Like, I don't have, that's not an option. Like, I cannot die because I'm all that Michelle has and I need to be here for her and I need to be okay. So no, absolutely not. Like, I need to survive for her. I'm scared because I'm so overwhelmed. There are days when I feel like I'm hanging by a thread and I worry about my health because anxiety, it does break you down and I don't want to go there again. And September's always been a bad month for me. And it's been a lot. Like I need something to just go smoothly, and I need to have a day where there's like nothing to worry about. It hasn't happened yet. It just, you know, I used to do yoga and I tried to meditate, and I should be doing that again, but how do you find the time when you're already trying to deal with so many things and get stuff done? But yeah, I should, because like just taking a deep breath, because sometimes I get so amped up, like I don't even realize I'm breathing shallowly, and that's making me feel worse. So it's like a vicious cycle. So sometimes you just need to just take a deep breath and just be still for a moment. I have to remind myself all of these things are not the end of the world. Like a flat tire and draining the pool was a pain in the butt, but none of these things are the end of the world. Now, the problem is when you look at the weather and the pandemic and things like that, like it literally might be the apocalypse, but even if it was, like there's nothing I can do to stop that. Like the other thing is the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I want to feel safe and in control. I control the things that I can. Like in my home, I keep us safe and I do whatever I can, and I'm in control of that. But I can't control what's going on in the rest of the world. I can't control all the issues that are going on and what other people do. So it's hard because it is scary. These are scary times, definitely. And I mean, some people are just carrying on, pretending like it's not happening, and it's very much happening. But there's nothing I can do about that. I can just do the best that I can for Michelle and me. And you know, some people are going to say I'm crazy or I'm overly cautious or this or that. People are always going to judge you for your decisions, no matter what you do. All you can do is follow your instincts and do the best that you can. And I'm trying to do the right things, but the anxiety is a lot to deal with. So if you are feeling overwhelmed with anxiety, you're definitely not alone.